When you're putting together a creative team, I think one of the main things is to pick the right people. Pick the right artists. I think that's why I like to kind of handpick a team, because I would look at their art, at their portfolios, their basic work, and ask myself, would we design a game in that style, in their style, So I think that's quite important to find the right people. You're very lucky if you come across an artist that can do everything, that can do logos and backgrounds and characters. You find those guys, and they're amazing guys and girls, but it's very rare. And so I would say, if you do put together a team, have your clear define your roles within that art team, pick the right people so that they complement that art team, so that you don't have I think what's quite important as well, so that you don't have someone that designs a character, for instance, but you get someone else in the team to go fix something on that artwork, or someone creates a background and you have someone else in the team that has to go in and fix something because this person didn't, it's not maybe the right artist for the job. I think that causes a bit of chaos in a team, and it causes a bit of frustration in a team, and it starts messing with the confidence of the artists in the team, and it's just not a good thing. So if you have well-defined roles, find the right people for those roles, and when they all work together and it clicks, people will have quite a bit of pride in what they do, and they'll all start working together, and I think that also will contribute to your culture of your studio. I think initially when I started in the iGaming industry long time ago, you often worked with artists and designers and animators from different industries. iGaming was quite new, so there I think you had to do a lot of heavy lifting almost to kind of guide artists into a certain direction, and kind of show them what the iGaming was, and you really had to be on it and do a lot of teaching and guiding. I think nowadays there's the industry is quite huge and growing every year, and you actually come across artists and designers and animators who's been in the industry for quite a while. So I still guide. You still have a level of work that you want to reach. If you're starting on a game, which direction you want it to go in. But I think it's important to relax a little bit and let some of the artists and the designers actually contribute, and show what they have learned over the years, and I think it's quite important, instead of just being in a position where you're just barking orders and people are just doing exactly the things that you want them to do, and the games just become clones of your own style and your own ideas. I don't think that's a good thing. I think I'm a bit more relaxed. Let people kind of bring something to the table, and that's sometimes where you find these little happy accidents, and something that you've never thought of even, and I think I do the same with there's so many outsources nowadays that, and I think it's the same thing. They all bring experience and some ideas to the table, and instead of controlling everything so tightly, you can actually even if you've been in the industry for many years, you can actually learn a lot from everyone around you. And I think the same thing goes for producers and designers and product owners. They've all been spend time in other companies in the industry, and you can kind of learn from the way that they used to do things here or here, and just kind of nitpick there a little bit, and take some of those ideas to build your own process. So I would say that's the main thing. It's just a bit more relaxed in the process. When I initially started putting together big teams, the first thing, I went online and I just looked at artwork, and I knew exactly what I wanted, and I just went through all the sites and I just kind of handpicked the artists that I thought would work, and initially, just because in the initial days of Yggdrasil days, I just wanted our games to look different than anyone else's game. So almost all our artists were not from the iGaming industry, and I initially just went through artwork. I didn't know, is it a guy or a girl? Do they have a bachelor degree and whatever? Where did they work previously? That where they were from, that didn't really matter. So I picked them based on their talent, and you can see in a few seconds if someone can draw and paint or animate. That's quite important. So put that together, and then had to go to the HR people and say we have to fly people in from all over the world. So the first thing was always talent, and I think then when you actually start nowadays you do the online interviews and stuff like that, it's very important to check the personalities. I think there's only so much that can come across in a video call. We used to back then. I remember we used to fly people in to come spend some time with us. I don't know if that still happens today in too many companies, but that was a really cool thing that Yggdrasil did early on, because people came and spent some time with us, and we found some amazing artists. But spend a day or two with them, and you realize that we dodged a few bullets. I think it's very important to, apart from technical skill and all that stuff, is to make sure that your personalities are gonna gel within your team. Look at the people that you have, and be very selective of who you bring in. You obviously want people that's gonna work in that team and build that culture, and your culture should be number one. One bad decision can cause a lot of damage. One bad apple can cause a lot of damage. So I think that's the most important thing. Some technical skill you can still, if you find an amazing artist that's talented, not sure if he hasn't been too exposed to the iGaming industry, there's stuff you can teach them, but be very selective with the people that you bring in, and if you do that right, and you're fortunate enough, your crew will actually start growing together, become friends, hang out, and some of those teams that we put together many years ago are still very good friends. So I think that's quite important, to pick the right people, and also when you go through that process, involve some of your current team to kind of also look at some options and talk to the people. It's very important. The culture of your company should be number one, because that can make or break things. Predicting the future. There's a lot of smarter people out there that can do that way better than I can. I think I think this year a lot of time was spent convincing traditional artists to kind of make use of the available AI tools, and just to make sure that they understand that it's not a replacement, it's something that enhances their workflow. And if you're a studio that have not gone that path yet, then you have some catching up to do. It's good to see that the industry has taken on AI tools across the board, not just in art. But the result of that is that the games are so boring nowadays. If you look at the games across the board, everything looks the same. Everyone is kind of caught up to a level. And I miss those days, back in the days you could have a chat with friends and go like, man, have you seen this game from that studio and this one from this studio? And everyone would know what you're talking about, but it's just all the same nowadays. And if something interesting pops up, everyone runs this way and copies it to death. And if something pops up here, they go this way and copy it to death. So I think we definitely need a bit of a shake-up. Something really needs to happen to just change the way that games are made. Everything just is the same, and I think we kind of forgot what makes games fun to play. Games should be fun to play. Someone should sit there and play online slots or online games and have a great time while they're losing a bit of some of their money, because you're entertaining them, and I think games should become more entertaining. And although we've always looked at other industries outside our industry, the movie industry and especially the video game industry, those industries have really evolved and keeps evolving at such a rapid pace. I do feel it needs to get shaken up a little bit. How that's going to happen, I'm not sure. I think there's been so many games, thousands of games every month, and everyone just wants a little piece of that pie. So you just churn out such a huge amount of content just to kind of be able to compete. But what gets lost there is actually, are the games fun to play? And I think that's smarter people should figure that out, I guess. Yeah, I think this platform is a very good idea. Back when we all got involved in this industry, there was nothing. There was no resources to go look at. You had to figure it out yourself. You had to figure out what does RTP mean and all that stuff. And you don't want it to sound stupid, so you didn't ask. You just always listened at everyone else around you. But yeah, it's a good thing to get some information out there, and I think it's very informative for people across the board to see who does what, because it takes an army almost to make a game. There's so many departments and people involved in getting a game published, and I think it's important to highlight some of the hard work that people do put in, and some of the creative process that goes into publishing a game. Sometimes when that game hits it big, and there's an award ceremony, one person walks up and gets a trophy. But it's quite important to just showcase who does what, and and I think it's for sure educational as well for younger people getting into the industry. And I think one of the things that comes across when you actually look at that, I used to always at ICE, when we were at ICE conference, just to go over to some of our competitor stands and talk to the artists and the designers, and just see how they do things, and I'll show them how we do things. We're all using the same software, and we all run into the same problems when we work on these games, and it's kind of good to have some kind of a community like that. So yeah, it's very important. Keep doing it, and thanks for the chat.